Oh crap, the government wasn't lying and using aliens and UFOs just as a convenient psyop distraction. They're actually here. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name's Ukradowski here of WeAreChange.org, and there's a plethora of absolutely wild and crazy news to get into, especially here domestically inside of the United States. Such crazy news that you pretty much just left having to laugh at it because, crying, there's only so many tissues in the world. But hey, at least there's a lot to laugh at, especially when it comes to the very detrimental situation happening right now to Canada and the people up there in the north, especially with what just South Park did to them. We're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing, you could get it on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. And the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast was originally shared by @EndWokeness on Twitter, showing a real-life inclusive modeling show. And again, each his own. Everyone has their own preferences here, but I sincerely would like to apologize for confusing some of these beings for intergalactic beings. I apologize, big YouTube overlords. I'm so sorry. Sorry! Well, nah. This as we have to shout out the Babylon Bee that truly is just knocking it out of their park, especially with their latest headline satirical story that reads, quote, "Inspiring. Corporations celebrate LGBTQ pride with rainbow-colored river," specifically showing a picture of the waterways in East Palestine, Ohio, where the government there is telling everyone that the air is definitely safe to breathe and the water is definitely very safe to drink. Yeah, if this doesn't look safe to you, I don't know what does. And it's very progressive. Just as progressive as all the roads and cars that are allegedly being filmed in Ontario, Canada, showing also this very proud, bold, and brave highlighting of their pride for this larger equity and diverse woke movement that they even painted all the roads with. Oh, wait, what's happening here? Well, this is allegedly video of what people are calling the aftermath of a major snowstorm that melted. Now, for me, just looking at this, it looks like maybe someone had a gas spill. Again, we're still waiting to find out exactly what's going on here. This is, by and large, the federal government here, let's just be honest here, has been acting really shady, especially when it comes to this larger situation. But hey, at least we get to laugh at this and at least have some memes for now. This, as we have to shout out some of the biggest cultural warriors out there, and that, of course, is South Park, a TV show that has been attempted to be canceled many times over for their absolutely hilarious no-holds-bar comedy that goes after and attacks everyone. Listen, you like them or not, you might think they're crass, but I think they're doing more for the culture than almost anyone else in the space right now, especially when it comes to highlighting some of the modern day hypocrisies in our society. And their latest episode, specifically about Meghan Markle and Harry, is absolutely comedic genius that deserves to be commended. All of this as the corporate media loves to regurgitate and celebrate and promote and push and worship at the altar of Harry and Meghan, and South Park just obliterated a multi-million-dollar marketing deal with fart jokes and cheap cartoons. Shouts out to them, and truly incredible work. This says they probably have a lot to work with now, as of course there's a lot of hypocrisy everywhere. As the Transportation of Secretary is now blaming the former President of the United States for the current Ohio train disaster that happened under his watch. This as the former President of the United States is answering back using schoolyard insults against the governor of Florida, calling him Meatball Ron. And yeah, for some reason, that's important to get into when, of course, this country's being destroyed and gutted from the inside. The United States is literally a sinking ship with robber barons taking everything for themselves. But hey, there's Meatball Ron over there. He's a really bad guy, and we should be focusing all of our energy and attention towards bringing him down. Yeah, I think he lost the plot, just like the United States government that just spent nearly $380,000 on shooting down a $12 school balloon project. This, as almost everything on our national media, is just paid fluff, hypocrisy, bullcrap, and lies, as they keep doing the bidding for a small group of egotistical, sociopathic, insane human beings that are trying to inject you with mysterious substances. And hey, This is why, if you haven't fallen for the propaganda, that's why I created I'mTheRealOG.com. Yes, that is an actual website. Yes, it is true, where you can get your own certificate. My certificate came in the mail. It is right here. Let me grab it. Because it is absolutely incredible. The quality, the detail here of this certificate of recognition here. We got a engraving stamp. We got a sticker. We got a signature. We have customized diplomas with your name on it, recognizing how much of an OG you are for not falling for a multi-billion-dollar psychological operation. This right here, glass. It's big, it's bold, just like the models in our current fashion industry, and it is absolutely glorious, and you could get one with your name on it, specifically on I'mTheRealOG.com. Again, I'm very proud of this. This was just a random idea that I had, and I think it's a brilliant one, and I think we need to, of course, highlight more of our successes, more of our victories, more of our wins, have a little bit of humor, have a little bit of satire, don't take yourself seriously, and this is why I created this official certificate of recognition. I mean, look at that. We even have, look at the details here. I mean, it's a little blurry here, but look at that. Incredible stuff. Get yours while supplies last on I'mTheRealOG.com, actual website. I'll just link that down in the description below. As of course, we're expanding our t-shirt empire on thebestpoliticalshirts.com and launching a whole bunch of new incredible shirts. This is the new shirt that we just released, by the way, this week, with a bunch of soy boys there saying that UFOs are the next psyops. And with the way things are going, that's probably true. We're going to be launching new t-shirts this week as well. And we have a lot of really incredible, amazing things coming your way through our ever so expanding and growing business on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. See you there right after this broadcast, as of course we are not done here, and we're going to jump into our main topic, and that is the Canadian government investigating itself and finding itself totally not guilty for, of course, stealing people's monies, bank accounts, and throwing people in jail for daring to express political opinions. I kid you not. There was an investigation that was looking into the use of the Emergencies Act by the Justin Trudeau administration, and an administration and parliament that Klaus Schwab previously bragged about infiltrating more than half of. This is relevant, which we're going to tell you why in just a little bit, but it was a Paul Rouleau, who was the Justice of the Court of Appeals for Ontario, Canada. That was the head of this very similar 9/11 commission looking into the actions of the government in Canada, specifically looking at their very inhumane, human rights violating, and absolutely outside of the law maneuvers when it came to, of course, arresting, detaining, stealing people's bank accounts, getting rid of their ability to even transact for daring to express political opinions during the Freedom Convoy. Now, if you remember, we covered the Freedom Convoy very extensively, as it was representative of a larger populist uprising of individuals comprised of all different backgrounds, of all different political beliefs and ideas that coalesced and said, hey, it's not okay to lock us down, destroy our businesses, and then to manipulatively try to exploit us to take a procedure that there were no long-term studies on. The movement represented a bunch of individuals, usually from the country, that sent in trucks and then sat in their trucks, honked their horns, which I think was the thing that they were most peeved about, while, of course, having celebrations, bouncy house castle rides, and peaceful demonstrations, essentially going to the government saying, hey, please stop destroying my ability to live a life. And this was a massive protest that, of course, resonated with a majority of people out there that, of course, were sick of the federal government intervening in their lives, telling them what they can do and cannot do. All of this now we know in hindsight, was actually wrong moves that actually made the situation that much worse than actually it would have been if there wasn't any direct government intervention. And what the trucker convoy, or the Freedom Convoy as they were also calling themselves, was asking for was something that the government did eventually and said, yeah, we were actually wrong about it the whole time. But initially, what happened in response to this protest was a coordinated media marketing spin of it, as somehow that it was related to racism when it wasn't, that somehow it was related only to right-wing ideologues when it wasn't. And when the smear campaign didn't work and more people started to come out and demand their freedom, the Canadian federal government crushed protests there in many ways that we see foreign despots and dictatorships do. They not only arrested truckers, took away their trucks, they also arrested thought leaders, people who were organizing the protests, people who expressed opinions online, sent them away to jail, while also in some instances confiscating their bank accounts and preventing people from donating to them, while punishing people proactively for donating, specifically sending out a chilling effect that if you donated to a legal cause, you were threatened with your ability to bank be shut down. A clear violation of human rights, something that was an overreach of power that wasn't justified at all. These were, again, peaceful protests. And now here we have the cover-up of all of this, a 2,000-page report by the government investigating the government, finding the government did nothing wrong. This, as this quote report and quote alleged investigation, also has 56 recommendations and essentially is a larger whitewash of exactly what happened here, with Justin Trudeau coming out after this contrived report and patting himself on the back, saying that, of course, he met the very, quote, very high threshold for using an Emergencies Act. This bureaucratic Becky politician in Canada, who's related to, of course, Germans during the conflict in 1939, also came out and said freezing people's bank accounts was a powerful tool to discourage the participation of protest. And gee, you think so? And of course, now there's headlines everywhere saying that the Canadian government was justified in violating human rights by all the same corporate media institutions that, of course, attacked these protesters based on no merits at all. Jordan Peterson had a very interesting response to all of this, saying, quote, now that it appears very clear that the judiciary in Canada is now as compromised as the government itself. This, as other online commentators like Viva Frey said, that this means Canada is over. Canada is dead, with Jordan Peterson even previously remarking that, quote, maybe it's time for another convoy, 10 times as big, and not just truckers this time, which, of course, represented the larger sentiment against Canadians who saw really awful things done in their country, who went through a chilling effect, a prosecution, all based on money and power-hungry individuals that, of course, squashed legitimate political discourse in their country in order to preserve their seat at the table. This from a government that Klaus Schwab literally said himself he has infiltrated more than half of, and let's be honest here, it's pretty clear, I think in my own assessment here, in my own opinion, that they've been acting on his behests, not just crushing legitimate protest against Orwellian, draconian health mandates, but specifically, in many instances, even denying care to a lot of individuals, while, of course, telling them that they could only assist in their deaths. Need a mobility scooter in Canada? Well, too bad. You probably have to wait a very long time, or the government's just going to tell you to off yourself, which they've been doing in record numbers, while, of course, they're also busy for arresting fathers of children who misgender them. This is a country that has been hijacked. It has been taken over. We have seen the worst of worst elements of humanity during a time of crisis be exploited for the personal benefit of a few autocrats and business leaders, while everyone else was screwed over. And no matter how many times these politicians pat themselves on the back, let's not forget how absolutely horrible and full of crap they are. And hey, that's just my perspective. That's just my opinion. If you think I'm wrong, let me know why down in the comment section below. I always appreciate your input. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys actively watching, sharing these videos, getting the diplomas, getting the shirts, and because you do, this is why I'm here, and this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.